What's going on, YouTube? It's Raka. Sorry it's been a while. I had some unfortunate stuff happen to me and I'm finally able to get out of the bed, lift my arm long enough to actually be at a desk and start using my computer again. If the audio is a little bit messed up, I apologize. I heard OBS went through some updates. I'm not sure if it affected my system completely. I have a bunch of videos for you. Right now it is the 13th of February, so I wanted to release these videos to you. So since I can't really go to work or do anything for the next few more days, I'll start bringing out a bunch of videos. I have a couple going on today. This is one of them. This one's called Won't Somebody Think of the Staff? Mad USAID Girl Boss Speaks Out. It's a bunch of clips and stuff like that. All the stuff will be in the description below. But anyway, just save time. Let's just jump right into it. Alright.
It's been, what? It's been like 2 weeks? I mean, 2 weeks. I'm done. You want to talk about regretting your vote? In 2 weeks, I went from the highest high to being unemployed. Lost my job last night, got a phone call. The repercussions of what Elon Musk are doing with the USAID has real repercussions for real people. For the last 7 years, I have been a shift lead on Project Bus, where we studied to find out if the wheels on the bus went round around or not. And all of a sudden, Elon, who's not even elected, gets in, and I'm out of a job. What do I tell my family? What do I tell my kids? This isn't a joke.
She can't even keep a straight face.
This USAID stuff is not a joke, man. It's affecting real people. And the worst part is, what if we never figure out? What if we never figure out if, in fact, the wheels on the bus do go round and round?
This USAID saga is just fascinating. As all the lefties scream and cry about Elon Musk and Donald Trump shutting down humanitarian aid around the world, anyone with half a brain looks at the numbers and goes, whoa, does this smell like money laundering? I get the distinct scent of money laundering. I mean, some of these expenditure items just seem a bit far-fetched. There seems to be fair and reasonable cause for concern here. But not Samantha Power, former USAID administrator from 2021 to 20...
Terrorist group being supported by aid. Think of that. We supported terrorists.
25. No, she's just worried about vulnerable people around the world. Never mind the fact that she's a journalist and former United Nations ambassador who was getting paid 180 grand a year at USAID and for some reason has a net worth that just skyrocketed in the last few years to between 10 and 30 million dollars. You're just being a conspiracy theorist. Stop being a conspiracy theorist. The BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, put out this article a couple of days ago called What is USAID and Why is Trump Poised to Close It Down? And you can tell they're against this whole thing because there's a poor brown child wearing an old shirt holding a dirty...
By the way, at the end of this video, I'll start a new video, and then that video will be a shorter one, but it'll be a list of all the stuff that USAID was paying for. I actually looked around and finally gathered the real list because I found out my neighbor yesterday didn't even know what USAID was for.
Old toy truck standing in front of a USAID tent. I mean, what kind of heartless cunt would take precious aid away from this poor brown child? I mean, they're basically taking the purple tattered shirt off his back. They're heartlessly confiscating his dirty toy truck. I mean, for some reason, there's only one sentence in this whole article about the myriad of ridiculous, wasteful spending and totally not money laundering operations. I mean, there's no
Definitely
mention of the
laundering.
Peruvian pottery classes, the LGBTQ comic books, the $20 million Sesame Street episode in Iraq, the $20,000 drag show in Ecuador, the 38,000 meals for fucking Al-Qaeda, the transgender opera or whatever the fuck it was. There's none of that. Anyway, they say the future of the US government's main overseas aid agency has been cast into doubt, with employees locked out and the Trump administration...
Yeah, at this moment in time, the building for USAID is gone. Completely gone. They even took the name off the building. They're going to repurpose it for a government building to actually help the American citizens. It is... The amount of money that was spent during this bullshit could have helped the two states, California and the other one, the one that had the flood problems and the one that has the burning problems, the one that's literally turning into a Republican state because of Gary Newsom. Well, yeah.
Administration planning to merge it with the US Department of State. The United States Agency for International Development, USAID, said thousands of employees would be put on leave shortly after President Donald Trump returned to office. The agency then recalled its workers from missions across the world. Well, I mean, shutting the whole fucking thing down and merging it with the State Department doesn't seem like a bad idea. I mean, it kind of seems like it's been sitting there festering away for too long. It's been able to get away with way too much shit, and it's all finally coming to...
I mean, let's face it, we all know what the USAID was doing, was taking our taxpayer money, sending money overseas to certain things, but only sending for maybe like probably a third of what they were sending, and then skimming off the rest for themselves. Or if another nation was like, no, we don't want that money, they would take it back and still say that it was taken already. So that way they get the full thing. I mean, let's face it. The only reason why the Democrats are so mad at Elon Musk and Trump is because we're finally pulling away their unlimited spending Visa card. That's all it is. The American Express card on your taxpayer money.
Light. I mean, I said in my last video that USAID does appear to do some worthwhile stuff, but it seems like the whole rotting structure needs to be torn down and rebuilt. Now, whether or not that's under the State Department is kinda neither here nor there. My grandfather used to use a saying, there's a in the woodpile. I never really knew what that meant. I mean, I got the gist of it. It kinda means there's something bad going on here. There's a rotten apple amongst the bunch. And USAID just has way too many in the woodpile. Anyway, highly inappropriate old-fashioned sayings aside, the BBC goes on to talk about Trump and his America First approach, and how he said USAID spending is totally unexplainable, close it down. Then they talk about Elon Musk and how he's a dirty...
The funniest thing, the Democrats tried to pull their own January 6th on a building, and they couldn't even get in the building. And it was such a disappointment. And of course, all the big hitters were there. Chuck the Schmuck Schumer was there, and Omar was there, and Waters was there.
Evil tech billionaire, and that he said USAID is a criminal organisation that needs to be shut down. They talk about how neither Trump or Musk has provided any evidence of such claims. Then buried way down in the article, they say BBC's charity BBC Media Action, an international development organisation, receives funding from USAID. According to a 2024 report, USAID donated $3.23 million, making it the charity's second largest donor that financial year. Super duper funny how that was buried a few scrolls down. I mean, the BBC are obviously being fair and balanced and impartial in this article. And if you think otherwise, you're being a fucking conspiracy theorist again. Stop it.
So I just wanted to come on here and say publicly, I'm officially announcing my departure from the Republican Party.
Why are you leaving?
We were given 24 hours that we are no longer going to be leading this initiative. And I can say I honestly never thought that I would so deeply regret my vote for Donald Trump. For the last 4 years, I've been the lead supervisor for Project Pickle, finally discovering how many pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. And I just want to say that I'm so sorry to my family. I was so wrong, and I never thought it would come to this. And the worst part is what if we never find out how many pickled peppers Peter Piper picked?
Anyway, let's hear from former USAID Administrator Samantha Power. She's the one we talked about before, the one whose net worth mysteriously shot up to between $10 and $30 million in the last few years.
Well, you can imagine
I
when
hate
you
paying my taxes
suddenly
even
in your
further
inbox find a termination notice or a leave of absence notice that you didn't expect to get on a flawed predicate that you're doing radical leftist insubordination.
Yeah, but here's the thing about that, lady. I don't think many people think it was insubordination. See, insubordination is when you don't follow rules, when you disobey authority. I think most people reckon that the whole structure was fucked, that the authority, that perhaps even you, were shady and corrupt.
And because there's so many lies and falsehoods circulating, and so many claims that people are sort of not with the program, I think people are just...
Here's a little funny thing also, side note. Zelensky, the leader of Ukraine, actually said that he got aid from the U.S., but he didn't get the amount that he was promised. Like 1/3 of the money that he was promised for the U.S. from U.S. was missing. So that shows you right there that they've been skimming off things like that as well.
just completely dislocated. There's no stable ground on which to walk.
Yeah, like I said, I think most people were with the program. It's just that the program was fucked. A lot of dead weight's been cut, and the USAID is apparently going to be restructured.
Yeah, USAID was supposed to help everybody and us as well, but for some strange reason, we were just giving so much money away. Oh God, you didn't even hear about FEMA. Oh, I should do it. If you guys are interested in that, I'll talk about FEMA as well, but FEMA was also just as terrible.
Under the State Department. Now, like I keep saying, I think USAID did do some worthwhile stuff. Things like feeding hungry people, things like trying to control disease, those things seem worthwhile to me. But surely the people that were doing legitimately good work are a shoo-in to get their jobs back with this new restructured USAID under the State Department. Now, I'm not an American. These aren't my tax dollars. So if you are an American and you feel like jumping in the comments and saying, shut the fuck up, Bearing, none of it was worthwhile, it was all shit, then you have every right to do that. That is absolutely your prerogative, and I would understand.
And then, of course, most of them have been laid off, so they're worried about how they're going to pay the bills and how they're going to make rent.
Oh, you mean like almost everyone else? Listen, just because you work for a government institution, it does not give you the guarantee of having a cushy life. Businesses fail all the time, and they fail when they can't meet the market. USAID is being put under a microscope because of stupid things we've discussed already. If you can't provide pottery classes to the fucking Peruvians on the public dime, then go do it in the free market. I mean, I don't think you're going to get very far, but that just goes to show how much of a stupid idea it is.
But maybe the part that is the most striking and for me inspiring, if not surprising, having worked there for 4 years, is that, you know, the people who work at USAID did not come to work at USAID for the money. The civil servants, the foreign servants, the contractors, they came to USAID because they wanted to make a difference in the world, because they saw America's interests as tied up with the interests of people, vulnerable people.
If you knew the full list, and I'm pretty sure people don't know the full list, but if you knew the full list, I know the full list, you'd be very angry at everything that this person is saying right now.
Around the world.
The real question is,
even as
how much did she get
struggling to figure out
kickbacks
how to make
for?
rent, all of a sudden, they're most struggling with the fear that so many millions of people who relied on us as a country, on USAID as an agency, but on them as individuals, that those individuals out in the world have no place to turn. And indeed, they're showing up and finding health clinics shuttered and soup kitchens closed, and advisors who were helping governments renegotiate debt with China, those advisors, now taken off the books.
Well, I really don't see how anyone's debt with China is the US taxpayers' concern. But these wonderful, kind-hearted, altruistic people that are there to help humanity and make a difference in the world, they're more than likely going to have a place in the new restructured USAID, in quotation marks. I don't think America is going to stop giving foreign aid. I don't think it's going to be shut off completely. And yes, I'm aware that USAID didn't mean USAID, but they did do some aid work. Look, it comes down to this. What Elon Musk and Donald Trump are trying to do, in my grandfather's words, is weed out the n***s from the woodpile. It's that simple, and it needs to be done. If I was an American taxpayer, I'd be mad.
I was just laid off from USAID. It's been a rough day. For the past 3 years, I've been working with carrier pigeons in Madagascar to recognize the difference between the name brand Doritos and the generic, like, Great Value brand. I have spent over $72 million on this project, and I was literally on the verge of a breakthrough.
If anyone comes across more of these troll videos, please send them my way. They're fucking hilarious. I'm going to leave it there. I'll be back again with tits this week for a couple of videos, but I'll see you real soon. If you have any comments, leave them down below or at my Twitter. It's @bear_ing.
Anyway, that was a very interesting and funny video, and also aggravating video as well. All the info will be in the description below. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for another video coming up very shortly. Take care for now.